It's Wednesday, June the 14th, 2017, and this is your Barbados Today morning news update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. We begin with news that two committees have been established by the LIAT shareholder governments to ensure the embattled airline remains in business. Minister of Tourism Richard Seeley told reporters last night that the recent pay strike by LIAT pilots that threatened to ground the airline forced the shareholders to meet to come up with a do-or-die plan.
What doesn't help us is for management and for the unions to be on any kamikaze mission. It doesn't help us for them to be on suicide missions. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It's not in anybody's interest. Not in their interest, not in the consuming public, not in the wider Caribbean economy. So clearly we have to continue to work these issues out and make sure that the airline can continue to do very good work that it does.
Warning that some economies in the region would collapse without LIAT, Seeley, however, admitted that the airline needed to be more efficient, a matter that was getting serious attention by the shareholder governments.
We have to get our act together and be more efficient in how we operate, and of course those items are being addressed, and we're not doing it in any top-down approach. The committee that was agreed to be established will have participation from all the stakeholders. The Caribbean Development Bank are also central to that whole situation. The CDB is, of course, providing the financing for the refleeting, the new ATR aircraft that we have.
In other news now, a challenge from the Minister of Finance to his critics to bring the alternatives to government's recent budgetary fiscal measures. Chris Sinclair threw out the challenge last night in Parliament to the opposition Barbados Labour Party and other government critics. The From Stewart administration has come under fire for the stringent tax measures introduced in the recent budget, and at the start of the week, the National Union of Public Workers also threatened to take industrial action if the government fails to scrap the taxes or introduce a coping levy. Sinclair told the House that the government has put forward the most reasonable option. He made it clear that he has not closed the door on talks, but insists the government has been reasonable.
So if there is an alternative that people have, then let us hear what the alternative is. But I know you can't decrease expenditure by increasing it, and you can't raise revenue by decreasing it. So we got to come and talk. We have to talk. And I say, we are not opposed to speaking. We talk. But whether you call it, whether the BLP calls it, a cost of living adjustment, and UPW call it a coping adjustment. Don't care what fancy language they put it in.
But opposition leader Mia Motley delivered a scathing rebuke of the government's actions. She again warned that Barbadians and businesses were bracing for further hardships at the time when the government has been making questionable decisions in its own interest.
And that is why the public was as angry as they were at the notion that any form of discretionary expenditure could be entertained in the very same week. That $481 million in taxes and $80 million in cuts in government expenditure could be coming. How could a government believe that it was still okay to take delivery of a new car for a prime minister, after a second one had been bought earlier this year? One for Chief Justice, one for judges. There comes a point where we have to lead from in front. The notion that a government could take 10% back, knowing full well that these challenges and these cuts were coming, is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong.
Ordine Ford cries herself to sleep at night when she thinks of her dire misfortune. The elderly woman who resides at Bibby's Lane, St. Michael, is currently living in a rat-infested, semi-dilapidated wooden home, with the ceiling to her roof almost non-existent. Barbados Today stumbled upon the Fours' home yesterday while traversing the area and was confronted with her dire circumstances. In sports, the West Indies will be looking to take the one-day international series against Afghanistan when the two sides meet for the third and deciding ODI in St. Lucia today. And if there was ever a time to rally round the West Indies, it's now. ESPN's Alexis Nunes has a preview.
First, Afghanistan thumped the West Indies, then the West Indies thumped Afghanistan, and now we have a decider. The teams meet on Wednesday in St. Lucia, both with a point to prove. The West Indies, presumably still hurting from not qualifying for the ongoing Champions Trophy, will look to their bowlers to perform yet again after they skittled the visitors out for 135 inside 38 overs on Sunday. The Caribbean outfit will also have one eye on their ODI series against India that begins on June 23rd in Port of Spain, Trinidad. And it's no doubt that the West Indies will need to bring their top game from here on out, as every win in the format matters. The cutoff date for automatic qualification for the 2019 ICC World Cup is at the end of September, and currently the West Indies remain 9th in the ODI rankings. They'll need to get at least to 8th if they want to qualify automatically. If not, they'll have to take the hard route and head to a World Cup qualifier to be contested next year.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Morning, Miss Oya.
Morning. You again. So you're washing cars now? Well, I can't keep up with you at all.
Yes, girl. You know they've got provision to selling slow. And I don't sell nation newspapers at all because them don't sell. So I washing cars now. I like to get up before 8:30 because I can't take the hot sun. You want the car wash?
No, not today. It clean.
But you're going in very early though?
Yeah, I just going early so I can read the Barbados Today online before work starts.
Right. But you can still let me clean the vendor for the $2. At least it's still cheaper than the nation newspaper.
All right.
I got a special boo here that I got it shining. Thank you. Enjoy your day here.
You too.
All right. What that paper is? She can see clearly when the dirt is gone.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
We're back with news from the region now. The Assistant Secretary General of the Caribbean Community has warned border security officials not to fall for bribery. Dr. Douglas Slater has told them it is more valuable to protect borders than giving in to the urge of a bribe.
The criminals out there will be making offers. You have a responsibility, and I expect you to uphold that responsibility to desist from such temptation.
That was Assistant Secretary General of the Caribbean Community CARICOM, Dr. Douglas Slater, who was at the time speaking at the opening of a regional training exercise aimed at improving border security. Dr. Slater further explained that while policymakers across the region are aware of the socio-economic conditions in the Caribbean, border patrols and customs officials must work along with their respective governments to stamp out corruption.
On the global front, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions has denounced as a detestable lie the idea he colluded with the Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential election, and he clashed with Democratic lawmakers over his refusal to detail his conversations with President Donald Trump.
You're impeding this investigation.
There weren't many new answers, but Attorney General Jeff Sessions' high-stakes Senate testimony raising new questions on whether President Donald Trump fired FBI Chief James Comey to sidetrack the Russia probe.
And I've tried to give my best and truthful answers.
I'm Andy Sullivan in Washington, where Sessions delivered a defiant performance in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee.
Why don't you tell me?
Refusing to answer questions about his conversations with President Trump surrounding Comey's firing last month. That's sure to cheer the White House, but doing little to bolster his credibility among Democrats who clashed with Sessions time and again over his refusal to answer their questions.
Are you claiming executive privilege here today, sir?
sir. I'm not.
Democrats such as Mark Warner of Virginia and Ron Wyden of Oregon zeroing in on Comey's abrupt firing on May the 9th. The dismissal coming just as Comey was advancing the probe into Russia's meddling in the 2016 elections and amid angry Twitter messages on the Russia probe from the president.
And that's news and sports, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, our screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.